Hi, this is Tony Woodall. I'm back to talk to you more about goal getting. And today we're going to be going over the 9 steps to successful goal achievement one by one. In this episode, we're going to be covering step number 1, which is write it down. So in our goal getting program, Don't Just Set Them, Get Them, we talk about step 1 as being write it down. And writing it down is very, very important. And when we talk about writing it down, it's very important to understand how this came about and why this is important. When Napoleon Hill, who wrote the book Think and Grow Rich back in 1938, if you have not heard of him, I encourage you to go out and Google Napoleon Hill, and you can get Think and Grow Rich on Amazon and many other places and in the bookstores. But one of the things that Napoleon Hill did in the 1930s was he interviewed all the successful people, the really successful people of his time, and he asked them all the questions about how are they successful, what did they do to be successful. And one of the key items that each one of those individuals shared was clearly defined written goals. That is the key to everybody's success, they said. By writing their goals down, it increased their potential and their odds of achieving their goals. Now, when I was younger, I used to hear about this survey, or the study, I should say, that was done at Yale University, where they had interviewed graduates from Yale and asked them, what they did and what they wanted to do and what some of their goals were, and, what they felt like they would accomplish after graduating from university. 20 years later, they interviewed those same people and asked them, what did you do? How successful were you? And why is that? And what they found in that study was that the majority of those people, the top 3% of the individuals that were in that class that they interviewed back at Yale, had now become successful or not. And the thing that they all attributed it to was writing their goals down. Well, that was a great study. Again, based on what Napoleon Hill had said in Think and Grow Rich, and in his studies, this was validated. But the one thing we found out was that, I think it was around 2005 or 6, something like that, we found out that that study never actually happened. Many motivational speakers like myself had talked about that study for years and talked about how important it was for writing goals down. But, it's kind of like fake news. It really never existed. It was not real. It never actually happened. It was just something somebody had made up. However, back in the early 2000s, Dr. Gail Matthews at Dominican University in San Rafael, California, out close to where I live, heard the same thing, that this study had never really happened, and she had grown up with it as well. Well, being a psychology professor at a university, she decided to test it herself. So she put together a study, and she found out through her study that you have a 42% greater chance of achieving your goal if you write it down. Now, there were other factors that she learned that actually improved those odds by doing them, such as accountability, to taking an action plan, things like that, which we cover in the 9 steps to successful goal achievement. So when she made this study and published it, it was just a validation for everything that I had been teaching in the goal getting program for over 20 years. So I really appreciate Dr. Gail Matthews, and I want you to see her study. So I'm providing a link in the description to the results of her study that she did on goal setting. I encourage you to go out and read that and learn how valuable writing down your goals are to success. And that is something that, again, I think you should share with your family and your friends and help them understand that writing them down is important. Now, the one thing I found out through my studies at Hypnosis Motivation Institute with Dr. John Kappas, who is the father of modern hypnosis, and one of the things that we found, again, that helps with the writing them down part of the goal setting is that you should write them in cursive. Now, I know they're going away from cursive in the elementary and high schools these days. Typically, nobody really writes in cursive anymore, but they stopped teaching it from what I've been told. And that's, in my opinion, not a good thing, because I recommend that you write your goals down in cursive writing, because what that does, cursive writing is kind of like riding a bicycle. It gets you into a, ideomotor response. It's where you're not thinking about it, you're just writing. And what that is doing is it's bypassing what we in hypnosis call the critical mind filter. And that critical mind filter is what causes limiting beliefs. Don't have time to talk about that in today's episode, but we will cover that in a later video. But our limiting beliefs, that critical mind filter, can keep us from accepting our goals and our dreams for what we want. And by writing them down in cursive, it goes into the subconscious, automatically bypassing that critical mind filter. And that's an important part to success, is overcoming any limiting beliefs that you may have. We all have them, most of us do. And this is a technique by writing in cursive that will help. So we'll cover more of that in a future video when we talk about limiting beliefs and the subconscious and how to change limiting beliefs that you may already have and have had for years. So 42% greater chance of achieving your goal if you just write it down. How many of you would like to have a 42% greater chance of winning something or accomplishing something? All of us would. So this is your opportunity to take that advantage by writing your goals down. Now, again, she proved, and with her research, that positive effect of written goals was supported. So that's a key point of the goal-getting program and the 9 steps to successful goal achievement. Those who write their goals accomplish significantly more than those who didn't write their goals. So look at her study on the link from the description below. Now, the other key point of that is not just writing them down. Writing them down is critical, but more specifically, specific is terrific. We're talking about being specific when you write your goals down. Napoleon Hill found not just that writing the goals was important, but the common denominator from all of those successful people that he interviewed was clearly defined written goals. Not just written goals, but clearly defined written goals. Being specific in your goal writing is very important as well. Now, you may have a lot of goals. One of my biggest goals has been to lose weight. In 2018, I made that my year to achieve my lifelong goal. And when I say lifelong, the picture on the left was me at just over 30 years old. I had blossomed up to 300 pounds in my career. I was traveling a lot, not eating healthy, not exercising, and I got up to 300 pounds. That caused me to basically get type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, my statins or my cholesterol was out of the world, and I needed to get all of those under control. And I started having to spend a lot of money, and I'm glad I had insurance at the time, because it was expensive for all of this medicine. But it really bothered me to be so big and so fat. And if you've had a problem losing weight and want to get healthy, I did. I remember once when my youngest daughter was like 2, 3 years old, she came running into the room, jumped in my lap and said, "Daddy, why are you so fat?" And I didn't know what to tell her other than I'm not controlling my diet, I'm not exercising, whatever. But it really hurt me. Again, I still remember it after all these years. But 30 years of being fat, I decided it was time for me to get to my new me and to be at the weight that I wanted to be, which was 185 pounds. And you can see in the picture there from the left, that was many years ago, about 30 years ago. And the one on the right is in 2018. And this was so exciting for me to do that, but I had to write down my clearly defined written goals. So when I wrote my goals down, I wrote it when I go into the bathroom on the morning of December 31st, 2018, and step on the scale. I am going to be so excited. I am going to jump up. I'm going to pump my fist, and I'm going to shout, "Woohoo! New year, new you." and I'm going to be so excited. I'm going to reward myself with a custom-made suit. I was looking at a Hickey Freeman suit, something that I've always thought about as growing up and buying suits, big ones. I wanted a custom-made suit made for me as a thin person. That was my goal. That was one of my rewards that I was going to give myself. So clearly defined. You want to make sure it's clear. I have many parts of the 9 steps to successful goal achievement in that one goal that I had, that one description or that one item here where I wrote my goals down, what I wanted to achieve. I wrote it very specifically. I didn't just say I want to lose weight. I wrote it very specifically. So clearly defined written goals is the key and the first step in the 9 steps to successful goal achievement. Now, I have a poster also that I put on my wall and give to people. And it's 9 steps to successful goal achievement. We just talked about to write it down, and then we'll go on with the individual videos talking about each one of the steps and how that works. Now, as I mentioned in my goal that I wrote down, as you start looking at that, you can see many of the different goals and steps that we have for goal getting that I put into that one written goal. So think about that before you go into the next video. How does that description of what I wanted to achieve for my goal, how did that utilize these 9 steps? What parts may have gone into that, and how did I utilize that? So I want to thank you for showing up. I do have my 9 steps to successful goal achievement book, which you can purchase on Amazon. I have a link to that in the description as well. I'd love for you to get that book and follow along with us as we go through this series of the 9 steps to successful goal achievement. So step 1 is write it down. So if you have any questions, my name is Tony Woodall with Motivated Action Group. You can reach me on Instagram at Tony Woodall Speaker, www.motivatedactiongroup.com, and I'm available for coaching, corporate consulting, public speaking, etc. But I'm here to help you with that on these video series. So let me know what you think in the comments. I would love for you to subscribe. You can subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and follow the, get the book, follow the, I forgot which way these things are. Follow the playlist so that you can get information when you subscribe, and also ring my bell. If you ring the bell, you'll get notifications of when I put up new videos. So keep alert for those by ringing my bell. And I don't mean that by a big punch in the side, but just ring this little bell there so you can get notifications. So I look forward to seeing you back on our next episode. Have a great day and be successful.